Hey there, welcome to the garden. It is a chilly, wintry morning. I'm definitely not totally properly dressed for it, but I'm gonna be doing a couple things in the unheated greenhouse, and I just thought I would talk through this and kind of share what I'm doing today. If you've been around here for any amount of time, or you were here at all during the fall, you know that I just complained about squirrels. And I think I have found a solution that works best for me, at least for now. I'm gonna keep tweaking it, but I think I found kind of maybe at least the answer for this moment. And I wanted to share with you what has been working. I have tried pest repellents, I have tried all kinds of different things. So what is the biggest help is just a physical barrier that keeps your squirrels away from your garden plants. The repellents, I find, they kind of, after a little while, they either break down with the weather or, you know, the squirrels, I don't know if they get used to it. Like my squirrels just don't even seem to care at all about any of those repellents. After a couple days, they're like, whatever, I want my whatever they buried in the pots, and they just get into it. So I've got a few different kinds of covers, and that's definitely something that I'm going to be looking more into, different options for covering the plants. But I've got the row covers there. Those work really well. And then I've also been using bug netting. So yes, it is the middle of the winter, but I've got bug netting in my garden, and I'm actually going to be putting these over the peas that I just planted in my unheated greenhouse, because believe it or not, the squirrels have no problem getting into the unheated greenhouse, and they like to dig up things in there too. So I just ordered this from Amazon. It's like just your typical bug netting. I think it was like $6 for a big roll of this, and I covered some of my containers. Is it the best look? I don't know. I don't love it. But it's better than just having, you know, something that covers the containers that you can't see through. At least with the bug netting, you can see through it. I did try to use bird. So you can get bird netting that is, it's like black. It's got a little bit bigger holes. They're more like, I don't know, maybe an inch or half an inch holes. And it's a little more aesthetic because you can kind of can't see it. You know, the bug netting you really can see. That's pretty obvious on there. The bird netting is a little bit less obvious. But the problem with the bird netting is that if it touches, like if it lays flat on any of the containers, the squirrels will still come in and try to dig through it and try to like dig into the bed or the container or whatever. With the bug netting so far, I've found that it's enough of a barrier that they actually, like, even if they get on top of it, they won't try to dig into it because it's, you know, basically like fabric, just a really light thin fabric. And I just tuck it around the base of the containers, and so far they haven't tried to like get through it or under it. So you might have to really, you know, as they get more used to it, I might have to really make sure it's really securely secured around whatever container it's over. But it's been a really good deterrent. So this morning I took one piece and I just cut it into rectangles, and I'm gonna go take it into the unheated greenhouse and put it over my grow bags. So these are the grow bags where I planted peas, which is a super tempting thing for squirrels. I mean, that's like delicious, right? I mean, basically squirrel food. I need to press a few of these in. They've kind of popped up, and I did put some squirrel repellent on here. This is Repelzol. I think Bonide makes it. It's fairly expensive, and it definitely works for the first like couple days, but for me, the squirrels eventually just don't care, and they start digging in it. So I'm gonna take this bug netting, and I'm just gonna tuck it under here and try to tuck it around so that there's no obvious way, like if I just tuck it around here, there's no obvious way for the squirrels to easily get underneath it. And it seems to work. Even if they hop on top, they don't want to dig through it because it's just fabric enough and solid enough. Believe it or not, they have been really active getting into this greenhouse, which is so frustrating and weird, honestly. But I'm hoping that, yeah, that now I tucked it pretty securely, so there's not really an easy way for them to get in under it. And I'll just keep an eye on that. But hopefully that should work. As I said, it's not the most beautiful thing. I would love to be able to just use a repellent and have them not be getting into everything, but it's just not enough, especially this time of the year when they're most active. I will say that as frustrating as the squirrels are, once we get to just about May, it's really around the last frost when everything starts growing, the squirrel pressure for me does go down quite a bit. So that is good. And I'm sure I'll have to break out these bug netting for when I'm planting other things, but like brassicas and stuff. But for now, that's a good barrier. I also put the seed tray cover over my seed. So I put the humidity dome over here. I left it a little bit vented because it does get warm in this greenhouse, but again, this is actually going to keep the squirrels out because they climb up here on the second shelf and they get in it. So that is really just all I wanted to share, was that the physical barriers are the way to go. Let me close the greenhouse. It's still chilly this morning. It's still kind of cold, but I snuck out here with my coffee. Said I just had a quick garden chore, but now I've been out here for a while. I just had to share that update with you because I've been talking about it so much, and I did try the repellents. I've tried garlic and things like that too. Part of it is just the expense and the continual effort of like getting out and remembering to put garlic and whatever on your things. I did also mulch in some of my containers, and now that has not solved the problem by any means. They have gotten in and dug in some of the containers that have mulch, but I will say that the mulch does reduce it. Like, it's not quite as tempting for the squirrels, and if you use the mulch and like a repellent, I find that has worked fairly well. Once the plants are big enough and they fill the container, it's also not as interesting, but the squirrels like that bare open soil. That's what's the most tempting for them. So anything that I can do to prevent that. I'm definitely going to be looking into some more, as I said, some more aesthetic options, like different chicken wires and things. I've seen some barriers that like Gardener Supply makes, like I think it's for cats, but it's like a little netting type thing that goes in the bed, like on the soil. So I'm going to explore some more physical barriers like that. But the takeaway is just don't let them have access to the space. So that's what I've learned. I'm shocked that there hasn't been a squirrel that's run by because they're always running all over. Oh my gosh. You can hear the birds too. I do have a bird feeder, and so that, that also like brings the squirrels in, and I am aware that that is counterproductive, but what are you gonna do? I do like to feed the birds too, and I love having them in my garden. So sometimes you just have to, not like fight it too much. I definitely have gotten discouraged in the past and not wanted, to deal with it and been like, what am I doing gardening in the fall if they're just gonna dig it up? But the more that I just work with it and find like barriers like this, it's definitely made it more fun and less discouraging. And I can still enjoy my beautiful containers, which I am loving. So I've got them all set. This is going to be my challenge for this year, is keeping all these containers in these locations all through the year, and we will watch the garden grow and change and watch things switch out. In just a few months here, we're going to be planting some of the spring crops, some summer crops. I can't believe how fast it's already going. We're here in the middle of January, and yeah, pretty soon we're going to be planting tomato seedlings. In the past, winter has seemed so long, but I don't know if it's just because I have like now a baby and a toddler and life is a little crazy. It seems like it's going by so fast, and I'm already like, wow, in just a minute it's gonna be spring. But getting out here and gardening, even the little bits that I do, I mean, I'm not doing much right now, but doing that, having the unheated greenhouse, that has helped me so much get through kind of like the winter gardening like lull, it can be a little sad when you don't have your garden, but just getting out here and doing a little bit, even though there's not really anything growing, has really helped me feel better about the whole winter process. Someone asked me, like, how do you stay motivated coming out in the garden all year round? They were talking about getting burned out at the end of the season, which is totally valid. And I think I feel a little bit of that for sure. But for me, gardening is such my, this is my quiet space. This is my happy space. This is what keeps me just, sane and content. And so finding little things to do to kind of keep the garden going is actually sort of what keeps me happy. I guess that's the simplest thing. It keeps me happy to be able to get out in the garden, to be able to have a couple little containers and watch the little garlic grow and the onions. Like that just keeps me going all winter. And I have to say, this has been my best winter. I've done the most with making the garden pretty, like keeping the containers out, not just packing them away, putting the mulch on so I can still enjoy them, thinking about the layout of them and how it's going to change over the year. I've been doing that, and this has been my best winter. I still feel so engaged in the garden, I guess. I don't feel like I'm just waiting for I mean, I am waiting for summer. Like, let's be real. I'm so ready for summer and spring, but I feel so much more content with the garden the way it is. I'm enjoying it so much more than ever before. And so that's definitely something that's been really kind of life-changing this year, and I really, really love it. So I'm gonna have a few more sips in peace and quiet out here in the garden, a few more sips of my coffee, just enjoy my space, dream about what's gonna be in these containers in just a couple months. And I'll talk to you in the next video. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.